We've all been there, right? You're scrolling through learning platforms and you see terms like online, virtual, on demand, maybe self-study,
Hmm.
and they often feel, well, kind of interchangeable, don't they?
They really do.
But what if those words, those seemingly simple terms, are actually creating more confusion than clarity, maybe subtly shaping our expectations, even impacting how effective learning really is for us?
That's a really important point.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this surprisingly complex world of learning terminology. Our aim here is to cut through some of that noise
Yeah.
and bring some precise definitions to these common terms. We're drawing on some, frankly, incredibly insightful excerpts from a source called Clarity in Learning Terminology.
And that clarity is just so crucial. Look, this isn't about being pedantic about words. Not at all.
Right.
It's about something much more practical. It's about fostering, more effective learning experiences,
Mm.
especially now with technology being so central.
Ex-
When we use clear language, we actually reduce confusion.
Yeah.
We set accurate expectations. And ultimately, that helps us design better learning programs.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on these terms. Let's really get to grips with what they mean.
That's good.
Starting with maybe the one that seems most straightforward, online. When you hear online learning, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A live video call, maybe?
That's often the first thought. But what's interesting from the source material is just how broad online truly is.
Okay.
According to the source, online simply means anything that involves a live internet connection. That's it. It's
Yeah.
this huge umbrella term.
Huh. So just needing the internet.
Right. But the key distinction, the really important part within online learning actually comes down to timing when it happens.
Oh, okay. Timing.
Yeah. We can basically break it into two main types.
Yeah.
First, there's real-time learning. You'll often hear it called synchronous online learning.
Synchronous, right.
And this is exactly what lots of people picture. Live interactions. Everyone, participants, instructors, they're all there at the exact same moment.
Like this conversation, almost.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or think of a Microsoft Teams class, maybe a Zoom webinar, a live virtual conference. Everyone's engaging simultaneously. It feels immediate, interactive.
Got it. Real time. Synchronous.
Then the other type is own-time learning, or asynchronous online learning.
Asynchronous.
And this covers experiences where you, the participant, engage entirely in your own convenience. There's no fixed schedule.
So things like,
Things like self-paced courses or pre-recorded video lectures you watch whenever you get a chance. Digital articles count. Even online discussion forums where you post and reply on your own timeline.
I see.
So you see, both are online because they need the internet. But that difference in when you engage, it's absolutely vital.
That makes a lot of sense. The timing really does define the whole feel of it. But, okay, here's where I think it gets, well, really muddied for a lot of people. Let's talk about the term virtual.
Ah, yes. Virtual.
I feel like most of us probably throw that word around pretty loosely, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the source makes a really strong case here for defining virtual much, much more precisely.
How so?
Well, its true meaning is basically not quite real or simulated.
Mm?
And in the learning context, this specifically refers to virtual reality, VR.
Ah, okay, like with the headsets.
Exactly, those truly immersive 3D environments that genuinely augment our senses. You're
Yeah.
usually wearing a headset, right? And you feel like you're within a simulated world.
Right, right.
Think about industrial training simulations. Maybe you're interacting with a holographic engine, or medical students performing really complex surgery in a completely simulated operating room.
Wow.
That's the realm of true immersion. It's like, that old movie Lawnmower Man. It's a completely different sensory experience compared to just looking at a screen.
Okay, that distinction is huge. So when we hear someone call a standard online class, just a video call virtual, what's the actual problem with doing that? The source points out a couple of key issues, doesn't it?
That's right. Two main problems. The first one is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just not truly immersive.
Okay.
A video call, even if it's online and it's happening in real time, it's fundamentally a 2D experience. It's on a flat screen.
Right.
It just lacks that spatial presence, the feeling of being there. There's no haptic feedback usually.
Yeah.
None of the sensory augmentation you get with true VR. You're not in the environment.
Makes sense. And the second issue?
The second one is maybe a bit more subtle, but arguably even more impactful.
Yeah.
It creates this unintended bias.
A bias. Interesting. Explain that.
Well, when we use virtual to describe a regular online class, it can subtly, maybe unconsciously, imply that the in-person, the quote-unquote real class, is inherently better,
Hmm.
superior.
I see where you're going.
This linguistic choice, even if we don't mean it, can inadvertently undermine the perceived legitimacy and even the effectiveness of really well-designed online learning.
So it sort of downgrades the online experience.
Exactly. It fosters this mindset that online is somehow a lesser alternative,
Hmm.
you know, rather than seeing it as a powerful and distinct way to learn with its own unique advantages.
That's actually a really powerful point, how language shapes perception. So, okay, if we shouldn't be using virtual for just standard online classes, what are the better, more accurate terms the source recommends?
Yeah, the source strongly advocates for terms like real-time online or synchronous online.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. And just think how much clearer that is, right?
Yeah.
It accurately describes what's happening. It's online, it's live, without carrying that unintended baggage, that implication that it's not quite real compared to being face-to-face.
Yeah.
Just shifting the language like that can really help elevate how people see well-crafted online programs.
Okay, that's clear. Now, moving on. We often see on-demand and self-study used almost synonymously.
Very common.
They're definitely related, closely related, but there are some subtle differences there too, and those nuances can really affect what a learner expects, can't they?
Absolutely. They often do overlap, which is, why they get confused so easily.
Yeah.
But understanding their specific focus is actually quite important.
So let's break that down. On demand, what's the core meaning there?
On demand primarily talks about the availability of the content.
Availability.
Got it. Right. If you've got information, articles, videos, maybe even full courses that you can access anytime, anywhere, basically whenever you choose, they are on demand.
Okay.
The real emphasis is purely on that immediate accessibility. You want it, you click it, you get it. It's about consumption when you want it.
Right, immediate access. So how does self-study differ then? Because often that content is available on demand.
Exactly, that's the overlaps. But self-study, well, it infers something deeper, a more intentional engagement that goes beyond just consuming information.
Okay, engagement.
Yeah. While the content for self-study might be accessed on demand, the term self-study implies that the learner is actively driving their own process, meaning they're likely working through exercises, maybe completing projects, or actively trying to solve problems. Perhaps they're using search engines or even AI chatbots to figure things out as they go.
So it's more active, task-oriented.
Precisely. It's about achieving tasks, developing skills, applying knowledge, not just passively taking stuff in.
I can see how mixing those up could cause problems.
Oh, definitely. Imagine, say, marketing a course as just on demand. People sign up thinking, great, quick videos I can watch.
Yeah.
But then it turns out it's actually a self-study program needing hours of work on complex projects and problem sets.
Oof, that's a mismatch.
Big time. And that misalignment alone can lead to frustration, maybe people dropping out, just because their expectations weren't properly set by the terminology used.
That really drives home why this precision actually matters in practice. So, okay, bringing this all together for you, our listener, what does all this mean? For anyone involved in learning or training or technology initiatives, why does getting these terms right really make a difference beyond just, definitions?
It goes right back to what the source emphasizes.
Hmm.
Look, this isn't just semantic nitpicking, not at all.
Right.
It's actually a critical step if you want to enhance collaboration and successfully plan any learning initiative, especially ones that rely heavily on technology.
Okay.
When everyone involved, stakeholders, HR folks, L&D professionals, the IT teams, everyone uses accurate language, the benefits just ripple through the whole process.
How so? What are the concrete benefits?
Well, first, pretty obviously, it reduces confusion.
Yeah.
Massively. Everyone knows exactly what kind of learning experience is on the table. Is it a live VR simulation, or is it a series of recorded videos?
Yeah.
Big difference.
Okay, clarity first. What else?
Second, it greatly improves planning. Your resource allocation gets clearer. Do we need live instructors, or do we just need platform licenses?
Right.
Technology requirements become obvious. Is basic video conferencing enough, or do we need specialized VR headsets? And even your content development strategy becomes much more focused and precise.
Better planning. Makes sense. Anything else?
Yeah. Third, it sets accurate expectations for the learners themselves, so they know precisely what kind of interaction and what level of engagement to anticipate before they even click start. That avoids the mismatch we talked about.
Crucial.
And finally, maybe most importantly, by accurately defining the learning modality up front, it actually fosters better outcomes. It allows us to design programs that are genuinely effective because they truly meet the specific skill development needs in the right way.
It really sounds like it's about moving past some maybe outdated or just imprecise habits with language, especially now, when digital learning platforms are becoming so central to education and training everywhere.
Yeah.
So, embracing terms like synchronous, asynchronous, real time, own time for anything online,
Mm-hmm.
and crucially, keeping virtual for those truly immersive VRR experiences. It feels like that clarifies our intentions and maybe speeds up our journey towards really effective technology-enabled learning.
Well said. Ultimately, that precise
Yeah.
language, it just empowers clearer communication. And clearer communication leads directly to more effective learning experiences in this increasingly digital world we're all navigating.
So here's something to think about as you go about your day. Just consider, how often do you, or maybe the people around you, use these terms a little loosely? Online, virtual, on demand.
Yeah, notice it.
And then maybe reflect on the subtle ways that that lack of precision might be impacting clarity, or maybe even the effectiveness of learning initiatives you come across or part of. How might adopting more precise language actually change your own learning journey, or perhaps your contribution to helping others learn, something to mull over?